The Bible indicates that the spirit realm is as real as the physical universe. God himself, the creator of the universe, is spirit. Jesus, King of heaven and earth, has authority over evil. He came to destroy the works of the enemy that take place in the spirit realm, known biblically as principalities and powers, deceiving spirits. In Mark 3:11, when the impure spirits saw Jesus, they fell before him and cried out, "You are the Son of God." There are many examples in the Bible where Jesus was able to cast out those spirits. But a couple of examples are in Luke 9, where the man with a son was possessed and having convulsions. Jesus rebuked the impure spirit, healed the boy, and gave him back to his father. In Mark 5, he cast 2,000 demons out of a possessed man who was living in the tombs among the graves and sent them into the pigs, who then drowned themselves. But people still communicate with deceiving spirits because they are blinded by the god of this age. Those in the club communicate with high-level spirits and fallen angels, even though God commands against it. We talked about the Olympian spirits in the last video because they are painted on the rotunda of the Griffith Observatory. So in this video, we're going to look at them further because the club members also wrote about working with them. I'm not saying that I believe what they wrote, I'm just describing it because I think it's important to see how they are deceived. Mount Olympus was home of the Greek gods in ancient Greece, a beast empire, and one of the places that Paul preached. Paracelsus was a Swiss physician, alchemist, and theologian who coined the term Olympic spirits in the early 1500s. He was known as a prophet or diviner, and his teachings were followed by the Rosicrucians. He was an illegitimate descendant of George of Bombast von Hohenheim, who was commander of the Order of St. John. Olympian spirits, or Olympic spirits, refer to 7 spirits, Greek gods, which align with the 5 planets and the sun and the moon. We already saw that those same spirits and planets are represented in royal heraldry. The 7 major deities of the Greek pantheon are attributed to a planet, a sigil, a list of powers, and legions of spirits under their command. So you have Eratron, which is Saturn, Bethor, Jupiter, Phaleg, Mars, Och, the sun, Hagath, Venus, Ophiel, Mercury, and Fool, the moon. These planets also correspond to the degrees of initiation in Mithraism, and this concept is carried forward into many of the so-called mystery religions. In this system, the universe is divided into 196 provinces, which each of the 7 Olympian spirits rule, and they rule a set number of provinces. For example, Eratron rules most of the provinces. His claim, or the claim, is that Eratron the alchemist commanded 17,640,000 spirits. And I just want to also bring up the Hindus, who have so many gods, like hundreds of gods. And those deities of Hinduism have evolved from the Vedic era, 1500 BC, and the Indo-Aryan tribes, and also related to cosmology. In ritual magic, the 7 Olympian spirits are often evoked in conjunction with the 7 classic archangels, which conflates biblical Christianity with occultism and is not good. Cornelius Agrippa also taught this concept of the Olympian spirits. His books of occult philosophy were published in 1533, and they drew heavily on Kabbalah and Hermeticism. He was also born into the nobility and was in service to the House of Habsburg. He was a physician, legal scholar, soldier, knight, theologian, and occultist. He was educated by the royals. He spoke 8 languages and traveled Europe lecturing about those Olympian spirits in the 1500s. Other writings about this include the Arbatel of Magic, also known as the Magic of the Ancients, which is a Hebrew manuscript of ceremonial magic, published in Latin in 1575 in Switzerland. The author is unknown, but it was translated by A.E. Waite, a British poet and mystic of the early 1900s, who also wrote the book of ceremonial magic. A.E. Waite translated Arbatel as the name of an angel who the author learned magic from, and a reference to the Tetragrammaton. The book focuses on the positive relationship between humanity and the celestial hierarchies, or Olympic spirits, who inhabit the firmament. He wrote that the office of these spirits is to declare destinies and to administer fatal charms. Waite claimed that it was a Christian book because the Bible is referenced throughout. But Waite was a Freemason, Rosicrucian, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. He also wrote texts on subjects including divination, esotericism, Freemasonry, ceremonial magic, Kabbalism, alchemy, and the Holy Grail. He also created tarot cards known as the Rider-Waite Tarot Deck, and this is one of the cards. Along with the Book of Ceremonial Magic, the Holy Kabbalah, a new encyclopedia of Freemasonry, and his edited translation of Levi's 1896 Transcendental Magic, its doctrine and ritual. He also wrote allegorical fantasy novels, Prince Starbeam, The Quest of the Golden Stairs, and Elfin Music, an anthology of poetry based on English fairy folklore. So the Arbatel of Magic is a grimoire and not Christian. A grimoire is supposed to grant the reader magical powers, mainly by communicating with the spirit world and fallen angels, which is biblically prohibited. But if you look at these entities that are appearing in grimoires, you see demons, angels, deities, archangels are thrown in there, Olympian spirits. Here's Eritron. They say Ariel is an angel. Fallen angels are in here. Lucifer is the only one they call a fallen angel. But then if you come down here, you see Mycob, and that's a fairy. It's listed as a fairy, and if you click on this, it takes you to this page and says that she's a fairy queen, like Elizabeth I, the fairy queen, the aunt of King James, the one whose right-hand man was John Dee, the occultist. Fairy queens are associated with the Tuatha De Danann. Elven princesses, like Charlemagne's wife Estrada, Arthurian legends, Morgan Le Fay, Avalon, etc. King James wrote in his book Demonology, which is also a grimoire, that the goddess Diana was regularly portrayed as a ruler of the fairy kingdom in demonological literature, such as King James of Scotland's Demonology, which says that she belongs to, quote, the fourth kind of spirits, which by the Gentiles was called Diana, and her wandering court, and amongst us is called fairy, or our good neighbors. That's what King James wrote, but KJV only. In the secret grimoire of Turiel, Turiel was a fallen watcher and one of the 20 leaders of the 200 fallen angels. In the grimoire, the magician is given instructions on how to contact Turiel. It claims to have been written in about 1518 and that it may have been copied from something much older. According to the original publisher, the work was found by Marius Malchus in 1927 after buying an English translation in a now lost Latin original from a defrocked priest. Turiel is also a fictional character created for Sir Peter Jackson's film adaptations of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. But regarding the Olympic gods, the Olympic Games were inspired by the ancient Olympic Games held in Olympia in Greece in honor of Zeus. And then the modern games were brought back in 1896. They claim that the Olympic rings represent the union of the 5 continents, but I suspect they represent the 5 planets or Olympic spirits, especially since the colors align with the heraldic colors that align with the celestial bodies in royal heraldry. I watched the movie Munich, directed by Spielberg, which was about the supposedly true story of Palestinians murdering Jews at the Olympic Games in Munich in the 70s. And then it was about Mossad taking revenge on those terrorists by murdering them in the movie. And it starred Eric Bana, who is Order of Australia, and Daniel Craig, who is Order of St. Michael and St. George. And those characters were the only 2 Jewish agents that didn't get killed in the movie, of course. So maybe it happened the way the news said at the Olympics, or maybe not. But why did it happen at the Olympics? I'm thinking for increased visibility and ritual, whoever was responsible. And then, of course, Spielberg had to make it into a movie to make it even more visible. Now we can talk about others who also communicate with the spirits and how that is related to cosmology, which is evidenced in song lyrics. And one example of the way they evidence in song lyrics is singing about astral projection. And this is where people claim to have an out-of-body experience and can travel through the astral plane or space, where they encounter spirits. The term astral projection was coined in the 19th century. Theosophists and Rosicrucians coined it, but it was also practiced in other various religions, such as ancient Egypt. Amazon tribes said they flew through the sky to consult cosmological beings. It's also popular in the Hindu religion, which we said earlier reports hundreds of different gods or deceiving spirits. It's reported to be induced through meditation, but also through the use of hallucinogenic drugs, which I think is what happened a lot with the musicians who are in the club. Just like they also show videos of orbs and album art with orbs and other demonic entities. We can look at some lyrics about astral travel. Rush has a lot, and their album art definitely reveals club symbolism. Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart are all Order of Canada. And this is an image from their album Clockwork, Angels, and those are all sigils, and this clock is set at 9:11. But sigils are a way to summon spirits in the occult. So I'm going to read some of the lyrics from their song Free Will. A planet of playthings, we dance on the strings of powers we cannot perceive. The stars aren't aligned, or the gods are malign. Blame is better to give than receive. You can choose a ready guide in some celestial voice. Led Zeppelin's song Kashmir is about astral travel. Robert Plant is commander of the British Empire, and so is Jimmy Page. So now I'll read some lyrics from Kashmir. Oh, let the sun beat down upon my face with the stars to fill my dream. I'm a traveler of both time and space, to be where I have been, to sit with elders of a gentle race this world has seldom seen, who talk of days for which they sit and wait when all will be revealed. Oh, baby, I've been flying. O pilot of the storm, who leaves no trace, like thoughts inside a dream, heed the path that led me to that place where yellow deserts stream. My Shangri-La beneath the summer moon, I will return again, sure as the dust that blows high in June when moving through Kashmir. O Father of the four winds, fill my sails across the sea of years, with no provision but an open face along the straits of fear. Black Sabbath's Over the Mountain is about astral travel, and I said before that Ozzy was knighted, but I guess he has not been yet, so I apologize for that. But some of those lyrics are, over the mountains, take me across the sky, something in my visions, something deep inside. Where did I wander? Where did you think I wandered to? I've seen life's magic astral plane I traveled through. I heard them tell me that this land of dreams was now. I told them I had ridden shooting stars and said I'd show them how. You don't need a ticket to fly with me. I'm free. Tim Buckley co-wrote the Song to the Siren, released on his Star Sailor album, originally in 1970. And I assume a star sailor is someone who astral projects. And that song's been covered a lot by Sushila Raman, Robert Plant, The Czars, David Gray, whose first hit single was Babylon, John Frusciante of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Sinead O'Connor, Brian Ferry of Roxy Music, who's also commander of the Order of the British Empire, and also had the song Avalon associated with Fairy Queens. George Michael covered it with the London Symphony, Brendan Perry of Dead Can Dance, Wolf Alice, Garbage, Third Eye Blind, and Cocteau Twins, singer Elizabeth Fraser. The lyrics of Song to the Siren are, long afloat on shipless oceans, I did all my best to smile, till your singing eyes and fingers drew me loving to your isle. And you sang, sail to me, let me unfold you. Here I am, waiting to hold you. Did I dream you dreamed about me? Were you hare when I was fox? Now my foolish boat is leaning broken, lovelorn on your rocks, for you sing, touch me not, come back tomorrow. Oh my heart, shies from the sorrow. I am puzzled as the newborn child, I am riddled as the tide. Should I stand amid your breakers, should I lie with death my bride? And Tim Buckley died at 28, they say, of an overdose of heroin and morphine. And then his son Jeff died at 30, supposedly while swimming in the Wolf River in Memphis. He drowned. Other songs about astral projection are Starship Trooper by Yes, And She Was by the Talking Heads. Kanye has some about astral travel, and so does Travis Scott. Thanks for listening.